Hello there, welcome back, and thank you for enrolling to this class. And also welcome to lecture 11. In this lecture, part of what I'll be teaching you all today is requirement management, requirement verification, traceability matrix, and the requirement documentation, requirement prioritization. This is gonna help you sit back, relax, and let's enjoy this. So today I'll start with the requirement verification. I know we talked a little bit about this during the previous lecture, and the reason why I'm laying the more emphasis on this is because this is the core area of your job. You must ensure that you verify, validate, clarify, verify, validate, clarify requirements before you start moving all the requirement to your team level, to your agile scrum team. Because any requirement that is not, that doesn't align to the business need is it's gonna cause a lot of trouble. So that's why I really want you to pay attention to this, and this is gonna help you a lot. So, what exactly is requirement verification? This is the act of process of establishing the truth, accuracy, or reality of something. When you verify requirements, you establish that what you document is in the fact what the customer meant. This critical process allow you as a BA to ensure that the requirements are not tainted by any personal bias you may have. You verify requirement by presenting them in the documented form to the person or to the group who gave them to you and have them sign up that you captured them correctly and accurately. So you must make sure that every requirement you documented before you can move on to the next step. Your customer need to get a sign up from your customer. Now let's talk about the validation side of requirement management. This is a act or process of corroborating on the sound of authoritative bias. When you validate requirements, you establish that your subject matter expert is correct in the understanding of the process. By validating a requirement, you ensure that the SME's personal bias is not overriding the process. To validate requirement, you present them in a documented form to the project sponsor or process owner. This is very, very important. Now, I want to talk more about requirement prioritization. This is a different process. After you have already documented your requirement, you validate your requirement, clarify your requirement, you want to make sure that you prioritize your requirement. Example is, let's say you have about maybe 30 lists of requirements. Out of these 30 lists of requirements, you need to identify which of these requirements you want to prioritize that will need to go as part of the MVP, most valuable product. Which of the requirement that needs to go in as part of the post MVP. You might decide that you want to have five iteration cycle. That's how you want to deliver the product to your customer. So um, for my recommendation, I would recommend you to make sure that you prioritize your requirement based on the high level, or can use a t-shirt size, large, medium, and small. This is going to help you to have a better to set the expectation with your customer. So the next step is to managing the requirement is to prioritize them. Prioritizing the requirement enables your PM and BAs and UBAs to make decisions based on those priorities without having to call the whole team to a meeting every time a decision is needed. Prioritization also helps the stakeholders to determine what features and functions are the most important to them. You have the low priority, you have the medium priority, we have do this later, you have the you have the high priority, you have nice to have, must have. It depends on your structure of your organization. I'm giving you a better context here. So when you get a job, you know what to bring into the table. Now, let's talk about the matrix score, the prioritization matrix score. For example, from this table I put here, you have a feature, and you have the feature one, feature two, feature three. And let's say the feature one, what is the details? The speed, what that's the way, that's the kind of the feature. The high priority, it can say, well, feature one, because feature one needs to go in first because this is going to improve operation efficiency of the team, or this is going to increase revenue, right? Or this is going to improve retention, or you're going to increase traffic, right? So every features have their own details of their priority, right? You as a BA, when you are working with your stakeholders, make sure you gather more details about it, about the feature. Why is it so important? Why is less important? Why the feature is high priority? Why this is medium priority? Bring your curiosity mindset and make sure that you understand from the business angle, right? And this is how they're gonna rate the score. So let's talk more about the requirement prioritization details skill, because this is very very important as a BA. One of the thing I really want you to understand about prioritization is that this is going to help you to be able to move all your requirements to the agile team by during the iteration. You want to maybe start with a ten list of requirements, and those 10 are kind of high priority requirements, right? For example, you have a P1, and the P1 priority, basically it's maybe an example I can give you is, like I said earlier, improve revenue or increase revenue, right? You have P2, maybe the impact to resource is not that it's much, but not compared to the P1. Maybe impact is going to improve the operational efficiency. P3, it's a kind of moderate. P4 is minor. P5 is low. You can decide to have your priority based on what I put here, but this is just an illustration to kind of help you, to kind of guide you how to be able to prioritize requirement and how to bring up a kind of a table with your organization. Now, let's discuss more about requirement management and documentation. Okay. So, the the important function for BA once requirement has been gathered is to ensure that to ensure document both the actual requirement and the expectation of the business requirement. A change management process for all documents should be developed for each project or office. It may be as simple as updating the document as having approving authority sign off on the changes, or as complex as requiring a minimum number of team members to approve each change. What works for you, for your office or your organization or your team, and is supported by all their members, appropriate process by your project might be different from other company, right? But this is very, very important, as a BA. I want you, one thing that I really want you to understand is requirement management and documentation start from when you start gathering the requirement, you keep documenting and you keep doing analysis, and you keep prioritizing and you keep documenting, you keep prioritizing. And once you prioritize, you get a sign off. When you get a sign off, you move those right to your team. I really want you to kind of understand the concept. Now, another thing that I really want to talk about is like, there are a lot of tools that you have to use to document all this. Some of the interview questions that you might get is, what are the tools and techniques that you have used in the past to document and gather a requirement? You can use a Jira, to document your requirement. You can use Excel sheet to document your requirement. You can use Confluence tools to document your requirement. These are part of the tools that you can use to document requirement. You can use Azure DevOps to also document your requirements. These are all kind of tools that you can use to document your requirement. You can use Figma as well to kind of document your requirement, to show the wireframe, the user journey, how the user is going to interact with your end user. Now, let's talk about requirement sign off. So now you kind of understand how to, bring up your approach, set up your game plan. You understand how to be able to, send objectives, invite meetings, identify your stakeholders, gather requirement, document your requirement, prioritize your requirement, do your analysis, validate, verify, clarify your requirement, right? Using tools to document your requirement. Now, the last piece of puzzle is getting a sign off from your customer based on the priority of the requirement. Once all team members and decision makers have agreed with the requirement, the BA will have them sign off before development starts. And the document is now an official functional document. This allows for a change management process to be established using the functional document as a starting point. Any changes requested after a document that has been baseline will go through what I call change management process and will require approval from the person specified in that process. Right? You have to understand this from a process. In the business analyst world, you have to understand three things. Number one, the process. You need to understand the methodology. You need to make sure you know how to manage your stakeholders. And you also need to know how to make use of the tools that you are going to use to provide solution to your organization. These are all the concepts that I'm bringing to the table during this lecture. So signing off is very important because it's going to help you to have a baseline. If a requirement is going to change, once the sign off has been done, any requirement that I want to change will go through a requirement change management process. I hope this is helpful and thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture.